Yeah, you can just do it, and so that you can do it a little bit in your own way, you can just ask some more questions, and I'll answer. And meanwhile, this can happen. So when he is done, somebody else can come. In a way, it's maybe not so nice that we are talking while he's trying to concentrate on his ancestors. But in another way, it's not so bad, because then he feels not everybody is looking at him and waiting for him to, get it done. So that's also practical, I think. So yeah, any more questions? Van de stakjes. Nee, voor de stakjes. Yeah. This you can put like a little bit on the side, so that. Okay, no more questions? No?
I have a question. Like, it's an ancestor should be the only one that you like or think about. Because what if you had a negative relationship with that ancestor, or he wasn't like a nice person, and then you went to the spiritual world? Does he or she change them, and your relationship with them changes? How should you approach it then?
So, generally speaking, it is done for all ancestors together. The ones you know and the ones you don't know. But if you feel that maybe one of your ancestors has a particular relationship to you, then you can do something special for that person. And I would say yes, especially if you feel that maybe this relationship is not good. Like maybe the person passed away, but you are having some quarrel and you could not resolve it, and suddenly he's gone or she's gone, and you feel, oh, this is like going to create problem, and yeah, it might not be very helpful. So then you can do a particular ritual for that person. Maybe even then, really making some food that this person liked, or if they like to have a drink, to give some drink or whatever. And more than that can be done, but that then becomes part of tantric healing, and then it can be explained. But if already, like very much in your heart, this is definitely one of those places where you have to be sincere. If in your heart already you can ask forgiveness for whatever you've done wrong in the story, and forgive maybe the other for whatever he may have done, or really try to make amends, it can definitely work and change their attitude, and not only, let's say, create more positive karma for you, but also allow them to move on and forget about it and let it go, and that will be very helpful for them. So it's always good if you can do it for both. Also in your feeling, if you can do it for both. Sure. No, I mean, yes, in a way it is special because it's from Harish Johari's book, but not for this ritual or something. No. I just was looking for something clean to put the bell. A bit amateuristic, but okay. I didn't have much time to prepare.
I have a question. In the beginning of the lecture, you were talking about making this ancestor ritual for the ancestors. But then you said that some friends who you directly connect, like if you know them already a long time, they can also be included. But just before you said that maybe you do it separate for those, so now I don't know.
Yeah, it can happen at the same. It can happen at the same time. Like first you do the ancestors, then you do your friends. But two different plagues. That's all.
Yeah.
This is tradition in a way. Yeah, it's a tradition in a way to do it like that. So we might question it a little bit for us because we burned the witches. This is why we don't have this tradition. No? We burned our witches. No? In the Middle Ages, all the people who knew about these things, the shamans, we've put them on the stake, or we burned them, or we drowned them, or we did, something to them. And we quite literally destroyed this understanding, destroyed this knowledge. I mean, I know today in Europe there are some witches running around also, but maybe some have a inborn talent, very strong connection with that world and really know what they are doing, but most of them have no idea what they are doing. And they're just, let's say, making it up. And in a way, that's what we also have to do. We have no choice. Those things have been mostly destroyed. So we can do it a little bit also with the help of the other cultures that still have it and see how they are doing it and understand some of the parts that are maybe more universal and maybe add some of the parts that we feel are okay, and in that way start a new practice, start a new tradition. If it is done with open heart, with good intent, then it'll work. It'll work. But it's the repetition. Wacht. Ja.
About reincarnation, is it possible that 2 or 3 people reincarnate in one people?
In scripture this is mentioned, yes. It's uncommon. But it can happen. For a variety of reasons. Even the opposite is possible. The spiritual being, usually a more high evolved spiritual being, takes birth in more than one body at the same time. This is possible. And this sounds again so very out of the way, crazy, like how can they even think about it? But once you understand what I've been explaining about this common mind field and the nadis through which we are all linked, then it becomes very easy to understand that this is possible. Not anybody can do it, of course, but it is still possible. And many of the things, many of the powers, siddhis associated with doing certain practices, certain sadhanas, are explained all through this, through the common mind field, through the nadis, through the spiritual world. Many of the special experiences that people have in deep meditation are not just generated solely inside of them. Surely they have to make the effort, they have to do the sadhana. But after a time, then this sadhana also brings help. And it is through this help that these experiences come. It is through this help also that the Kundalini will move. Like one other kind of spiritual being known in Vedic scripture is called Dakini. Dakinis are the ones who are stopping, actually, your spiritual energy to move up in higher chakras until you are ready. And one says then that these are the doorkeepers, and that first you have to please the doorkeepers before you can move forward and have the experience of what it means to be beyond your first chakra and really have no more fear of death. That is something which does not come only in let's say, your own being. That is an interaction between you and the spiritual world. So many of the magical things that are said about teachers and gurus, yogis, can be explained quite easily once this basic understanding is there. Then that all becomes quite possible. Anything more? Yes. That is also, you could say, a very universal practice. To offer maybe just flowers or also water, also the 5 elements, to all directions, all 8 directions, and then also to the heaven and below. This is quite common also in many cultures, many practices. Havana or fire ritual also is a very common yogic practice, which very much is a practice where you are doing an offering and hoping for some help. Very much so. You are burning ghee, you are burning incense, you are burning special woods or nice smelling flowers or things like that. This is a mixture called samigri, into the fire, offering it to the spiritual world and gaining some kind of benefit. Havana is extremely powerful. More powerful than Panchbhuta. More powerful than just offering the 5 elements. Just offering the 5 elements, you can say, is very basic. It's like a daily thing. Havana usually is not so daily, more on occasion and for a specific purpose, although in some practice it will be daily. But that's more unusual. Another subject there is that when you are doing any such kind of ritual, you can do it with a specific purpose or with a general purpose. In that way, I mean, you can do it in a general way, just saying, oh, no, please help me to become more happy, to become more spiritual, peaceful, all these things, to become more closely with the divine. That is very general, that is very good, and that is, let's say, without any problem. Because if you ask for happiness, then you can never be wrong. They can never give you the wrong kind of happiness. Right? But if you are going to be more specific about what you want, then you have to be a little bit careful. Either you have to be very general, or you have to be extremely specific, but nothing in between. I mean, it's quite funny, but it really works that way. Let's say you just do some ritual and you say, oh, please give me a new car. You don't know what's going to happen, honestly. Something might happen, but you don't know. Maybe your old car will get crashed and you will be inside. And you get really hurt And then afterwards, yes, somehow you can find a new car, sure, but this was not the way you intended it. So if you want to be specific, you have to be extremely specific and precise, and I don't advise it. I don't advise it. There are very, very few things in the world that you really need that much that you have to risk this kind of game here. It's better to ask for the general. It can be done, but I would suggest to leave that to the specialists, let's say, to the real tantrics who know how to do this, and who can, correct it, and who have such a connection to the spiritual world that they will immediately understand if there is some misinterpretation possible, if it is not precise enough, because they have a feedback there. Most of us, when we do these things, we have no feedback until it happens. And then we might be a little This is even true for some of the really yogic desires. If you are asking to be, let's say, less involved with sexuality and, running after that because you want to devote more your energy to something else. It's nothing moral, it's just like a choice you make. Yeah, you better be very sure about it. Otherwise, who knows what might happen. Many things can happen. So in that way I would advise against it. Only in a general way. It's not needed. Like whenever I give a class, I will ask, please, help me to make a good class. Sure. A good class can never be wrong. Right? Not, I'm not going to be more specific. So that is quite important. One of the good aspects of this story and of working with it and starting to really experience that it works is that it also very much will change how you feel about yourself. Because first this is just a story, right? Just some kind of way of seeing that you find interesting, and you listen and you think, oh wow, interesting. You can read about it and whatever. But if you do this kind of work, if you become, let's say, conscious of the sacredness of everything and of the interaction of love that you can have with everything, because this is really what Tantra is about. It's a giving and a receiving. When this starts happening, and you so really experience it, that it no longer becomes an intellectual understanding, that it becomes something which you no longer question, that is becoming real for you, then your own view of yourself will very fundamentally change. Because you will understand that first and foremost, you are a spirit, not a body. And that will completely change your view about yourself. Because if you are a spirit first, and let's say a body second, then you have an awful lot of time. Then you are no longer in a hurry to get this or that. Whether it's a car or enlightenment. Everything becomes more, okay, shanti, shanti. I got the point. I'm here only in this body for a short period of time. But actually I'm here for a very long time. And I have been here for a very long time. And I will continue to be here for a very long time. And everybody together will be here for a very long time. So what's the big deal? What's the big problem? It will really change very much, very fundamentally, how you think about yourself. And whatever big desire you have, it will still be able to wait. Because whatever you cannot do in this life, you can postpone for next life. This becomes then very normal. No? And that doesn't make you lazy or Somebody who doesn't want to do things. No, you still can do things, and have to pass the time anyway. But it becomes more that. The passing of the time, a playing of a game, a leela, a theater, and nothing very important. So,
is there a difference between a soul and a spirit?
no. The only difference is like in the interpretation of it, in the sense that the soul is still more connected to a body, you could say, more recently departed from a body, while spirit is seen as not so connected to a body anymore. But this is just interpretation, because actually both words have the same meaning. Some will also use the word soul only in relationship to spirits of human origin, for example. But this is again just interpretation. The soul is the self with some luggage, with some memory, with some personality from the life and lives before that, with some understanding, with some feeling. It's the subconscious mind, with the self inside of it. And maybe a little bit, one might say, a seed of the conscious mind is also there. Like some addictions of the conscious mind might pass on from one life to another. That is possible. But this is only a seed. When you start anew, many things can become new, and many old attachments of the mind can go. Only the attachments of the subconscious, they stay, and that is what you have to work with, so that you can become more free and more durably happy.
Because I'm struggling with the concept of reincarnation, that the spirit returns to the body, and then you have other spirits who are detached from the body.
Yeah, well, some are not so interested, like apsaras. Apsaras are like celestial dancers and musicians. So they are always involved with dance and music. They are not interested to come here. It's much easier over there. So they can stay there for a very long time. But then as the stories go, then maybe one of them will fall in love anyhow with a human. They're like nymphs in the forest. We have this also in our own mythology. And they fall in love with a human, and there's some relationship starts. And from there comes a desire to become human. That is possible. No? Many different kinds are described. And some very different from us. But still in the essence they are all the same. All the self with some energy around it. Only the quality of that energy can be very different. Can take a completely different form. And so that is part of the understanding, along with the understanding of the different planes, of course. Because it's not that there is only this plane and the spiritual plane. The spiritual plane consists of many different places, many different dimensions with different rules and different kinds of beings. And all these dimensions are linked with each other through the nadis. So there is some influence there. But there are quite a few, let's say, spiritual planes which are hardly important to us, who are completely removed from us. But some are really very important to us, and especially when we die. When we leave the body, then we can travel to other places. If we are very attached to this world, very in love with this world and only want to come back in a physical form, then we will not do that. But if we are less attached to this world, then we can let go, and by letting go we become more subtle. This is the difficult part, to allow yourself to become more subtle. You're already feeling more subtle, no? As a spirit. No? Before you were very dense, not subtle at all, and then suddenly you find yourself in some kind of energy body which is like almost nothing. No? So it's a little hard to accept that your existence is so ethereal. But if you can accept, if you can let more go, then more and more subtle you will become, and more other planes will become, let's say, accessible to you. For example, those where you can learn a lot. Like some of those planes are described as the planes where very ancient teachers, very, very great yogis, the greatest yogis or whatever, are living, and where you can go and learn. But very few people are actually able to do it. Many just stay around this plane. Interesting aspect, of course, is that plane which I'm talking about, that mind field, that common mind field where most spirits live, is also related to our dreams. And also there a contact can be there with the ancestors or with other spiritual beings. So that is also part of this story. And the Indian, let's say, version of dream therapy, we have there also a special knowledge. So, working with the dream world. Don't remember your dreams means that you're not in good contact with it? No. You don't have to remember your dreams for them to be important to you. This understanding again comes from understanding that the conscious is very little important compared to the subconscious. So if an ancestor is a little bit like helping you in your dream to let go of, I don't know, some lover that you lost or whatever it is, no? Then that will just happen. And in the morning you will not remember the dream, but you may just feel, oh, now I feel like I've forgotten about him. Kind of let go. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. Well, maybe that's how it happened. Many things happen like that. Many things happen in the dreams. And there's not so much you can do about it, but few things you can do. But that's really like another class to talk about dreams and how to work with that.
Sometimes some things which you don't find important that you take interest. And after some time you do see that the reason of it, that you are acting really, that you don't know why you are doing it. You don't see the problems, and it's sometimes so just after some time that you say, I don't know why I don't know why.
You don't know why, you don't know how it came. Yes, this is part of the tantric game. This is part of this subconscious link that you have with everything else, and where help is available, and where you can grow and learn to resolve things. There are actually only 3 ways in which to resolve the things in your subconscious mind. There are the challenges of life, where you just try to overcome certain limitations. Like, let's say you are very afraid of heights, so okay, let's do a holiday in the Alps and climb and try to overcome that fear of heights. This is one example. The second is in deep meditation, where this fear of heights can be resolved maybe through reliving some ancient thing happening, some accident maybe that happened where you fell down from a big height, and subconsciously you've never forgotten it, and now it becomes in your conscious, and you can digest it and you can let it go, and then the fear of heights may be gone. in deep meditation, samadhi. And the third way is in Tantra, where some help is generated, you could see. Some help is brought so that this can be resolved in your subconscious mind, maybe in a dream, maybe in some other way. It can be in very many different ways that it works. But usually it works without us having any idea about it. That's the funny thing. And that's what Tantra a little bit changes. Becomes a little bit more like in control of that process. Karma, anyhow, it has to happen. But with Tantra you can change how exactly your karma is happening. And you can make it a little bit more easy maybe to digest. And especially you can make it a little bit more fruitful, so that it really makes you grow and really makes you advance. And not is just like another blow which creates again a response from you, which then again creates a new karma and again keeps you going for many, many lifetimes in the same, like bullshit.
When I hear you, it's like, it's very subtle sometimes. It's something.
It is very subtle.
Yeah.
Yes.
It can be dangerous sometimes with the intentions and something.
Yeah, well, but
Approach carefully.
if you do this thing and you do it here, like, real in your heart, nothing wrong will happen. That will not do anything wrong. If on the contrary you read some book somewhere and you find some special thing somewhere and you start doing this on your own without any proper guidance, then you are crazy and you're going to get really like into trouble. Most probably. These are not things to be played with. Yes.
When you do the ritual but you don't feel very good,
Mm.
you feel bad,
Mm.
and you have the feeling that you cannot be generous,
Mm.
that you want to, is it very bad enough to do it? Or
Well, the way you are explaining it, you are already ready for it, no? Because you're saying, I'm not feeling very good, but I want to be generous, which is kind of hard. This is okay. You're a human, This is okay. You're trying.
fear is okay.
What is some fear is okay, some uncertainty is okay, some doubt is okay. You can do this for a very long time, and every time you do it, you will still feel like, what am I doing? Sure. Your rational mind will go like, what are you doing?
You feel it's good, but you're not sure.
So it's okay to a little bit not be sure about it, a little bit unclear. It's okay. Your right intention is important. What you do with it, and especially the nonsense that may be going on in your mind while doing it, is not so important. Only just like it's mostly happens wrong way if you're doing it in religion. That's what is the main problem for me with religion. That you are doing it because you're supposed to do it. The group expects you to do it. So you do it, but maybe you are having very bad feeling about it. Like really bad feeling about it. Not saying, well, I'm not feeling very good, I'm trying, but it's not going. No. You just, like, why do I have to do it? Bullshit, like. This is what is very negative and very dangerous in a way. Yes.
Why do I have to ask something? If there is someone who can give something to me, he wouldn't give it to me without asking. What's the real meaning of asking?
But there's two parts to that. First of all, you are right. Why ask? You don't need to ask. Karma will happen and you just respond to it best way possible. And anyhow, we are not even here. We don't even exist. So why all this? So this is one part. The other part, as you are saying, is why don't they give it? Why do I need to ask? Well, that's to do, let's say, with your privacy. If you ask, let's say, for some help in meditation, then you're kind of asking for somebody to a little bit massage your subconscious mind while you're doing your mantra so that not too much like rubbish comes out. This is a very private thing that you are asking, and only if you ask, it will happen. If you don't ask, they will say, oh, let him do it on his own. He wants to do it on his own. Fine, let him do. So there is a lot of respect from that side also. It's the same thing with a tantric healer. If you go to a tantric healer but you don't really ask for help, then he can do nothing. And he really will not do anything. You really have to ask for it. Because otherwise his helper spirits will not want to do it. Because always they work on the spiritual level, which means on the level of your soul, on the level of your subconscious mind. So this is your most private part, let's say. So if you want some help there, you have to ask for it. So in that way, in so far as you think, okay, I'd like to go somewhere, I'd like to reach something, in so far as that is there, then you can ask for help. Because otherwise that help cannot so easily be given like that. There is privacy and personal freedom to take into account. So only if you give a little bit up this freedom, then you can. Hmm?
If a person has so many messages without having done this ritual, are these then also these spirits?
Well, usually yes. I mean, mind is a strange thing anyhow. So in the mind of a person, strange things can happen, so why not two people starting to talk? I've many times said that the conversation that is happening in our mind is anyhow a conversation, which means you need two people. So the front mind is talking to the middle mind, and the middle mind is talking to the back of the mind, and maybe the back of the mind is talking to the body. So anyhow there is conversation going on. But if, let's say, very clear words are coming, sentences are coming, emotions are coming, apparently from outside, that you feel like I have no connection to it, I don't know where this is coming from, this is not me, this is not coming from me, then yes, there may be a special talent to hear the spiritual world and be influenced by the spiritual world, and this talent may at the same time also cause problems. This talent at the same time, it may also cause problems. And then, you need some help from a healer. Well, some beings may be there that try to help you, but are a little bit less concerned over your privacy and think that they should tell you what to do. It can be good. Some healers especially will have that also. Some helping spirits that are there in telling them, now go there because there is somebody who needs your help, for example. So, kind of is part of the job of being a healer. But if you're not a healer, if you're not able to really help others, and you are being directed in a way that feels very unlogical for you, feels not healthy for you, then you will need some help. Yeah, possible, but what to do with it? You can maybe do something with it, or you can feel it's disturbing you and not letting you do what you want to do. Then you may need some protection or help.
So it's kind of an invasion of the spiritual world.
Yeah, well, but you have to understand that you still are the boss in your own mind. So if you very clearly say that you don't want this will already help. I'm not saying it may be enough, especially not if it's been going on for a long time. It may not be enough, but it will already help. because you are clearly saying, I don't want. No? Yeah, but then you need to know what to do with it. But maybe it is better something we talk about separately, because people who have that kind of, let's say, talent, no? If they don't find a way to properly use it, it will create problems for them. So they have to find some way to make it a positive thing, and then it will be a positive thing. But if not, it can become a problem. And not only for them, but also for others. So, yeah, we can talk about it.
Suicides, are they drawn to that darker astral plane?
Oh, no. It all depends. Whether a person is drawn to the dark side is whether he is interested or not. And if he is drawn to the light side, is because he is interested in the light side.
People who are drawn to the light side that find this life very dark and commit suicides.
No, well, committing suicide is always a bad idea because it's not solving any problem. Whatever karma brought you here is not resolved by committing suicide, so you will be again coming to a same or similar situation until you accept and deal with it and grow and overcome it. And then you can live in whatever world, or at least in this one, and find, okay, it's not so bad. So this is what to say about suicide is nothing to do with demonic or devic. Suicide is just like a situation in which a person no longer sees a solution. It's a situation in which a person no longer sees a solution. But that in itself is the wrong idea.
That draws to the dark.
No, not necessarily. I mean, there is always a solution.
Yeah, but if you don't see it,
Then you feel desperate and okay, you commit suicide and okay, then you have to start again. You know? If you understand karma, then this is very clear. Like,
When we talk about the spirits,
huh?
you said something about you look through your eyes.
Hmm.
I mean, should we see it as beings that are actually around us in like an invisible, non-physical way, or is it more like in your subconscious, like in things that you see or thoughts or dreams or?
They are not in this world. They are in a different world. So it's not like they are here around us. But they are still aware of what is happening here. From this other world, through the energy channels that connect the common mind field. So it is through our subconscious mind that they can see and experience and hear the story and so on. It's not directly. Even some people, they may see spirits. But this is not an actual physical presence. Not even some like subtle energy presence that that person can see magically. No, this is not how it works. Because if something would be there, other people would also see. This is only through the mind of that person that this image is created. And maybe this image is going to be very like crystal clear and talking and dancing. I don't know, whatever. But this is only a projection through the mind to kind of, how you say, pass a message on. With good intent, maybe naughty, maybe whatever. You know, like some spirits can be more teasing or something, no? and try to scare you just for fun. I mean, yeah, some people like that exist, or some spirits like that also exist. So they can create images in your mind just for fun. But it's not real. They cannot touch you. They cannot do anything to you. They can only make you believe something, and in that way it becomes like real for you. But it's not. They can make the whole world collapse around you. But it's not going to be collapsed afterward. After it's going to see, oh no, the roof is still there. but maybe you get the impression the whole thing is falling down on you. It's just in your mind. But okay, these things only come to people with certain sensitivity, who are born this way. And those people, they can be a great help to others. And by being a great help to others, they can also save themselves. Because by helping others, they will surround themselves with positive energy, with spirits again, which are wanting to help others and help you in helping others. So then those naughty ones, let's say, those unhappy ones, they keep them away. That's how you survive as a talented person in this area. All right. Thank you very much.